And check, check, 1, 2. There we go. Alright, hello, Speed Gaming. Welcome to another edition of the 2025 Metroid Prime 2 Randomizer Mentor Tournament. As you can plainly tell, we are still going through the motions, getting everything set up. But since I can see that we are live on Twitch right now at twitch.tv/speedgaming3, we should have something more than just some background music going at the moment. So allow me to introduce tonight's race. In our left-hand side corner, I do believe we are looking at MColyer. They are mentored, if I am not mistaken, by BajaBlood. In our right-hand corner, we have darkstar44044. I'll just be referring to them as Darkstar. They are mentored by Lenophis. I will be referring to them as Leno, probably. Excuse me. So, some things to bring to the table. First things first, there were no runner's agreements. So, from the start here, let us anticipate. Old Patcher, Cannonball is still shuffled, however, nothing else is. So there are 4 energy transfer modules shuffled into the map to take the place of items that have been removed from the pool. Well, why, pray tell, are there items missing from the pool, you ask? Well, the missile count was shortened, as it's insanely high in the original game, to allow for ammunition pickups to be more prevalent and less quantity. So, in these settings, ammunition pickups are split between light beam and dark beam. They are worth 20 ammo count per piece instead of 50. So now we have a lot more ammo pickups alongside the missile pickups. But the numbers didn't quite match up. Somewhere along the line. And if all of that was cut off, I do apologize, but hello, Speed Gaming. I have no clue to tell if I was mid-spiel or not, but I'm going to assume I'm starting from scratch. Hello, my name is Steve, and we are here for another edition of the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes Randomizer Mentor Tournament for 2025. My commentary made it through on the previous page. Forgive me. I'm just starting from scratch again, because I get the feeling I'm over here. We still have some technical issues on the cropping side, but we press on. Again, I will Starting off, we have, on our left-hand side, MColyer. Currently playing in the tournament, mentored by BajaBlood at the moment. Forgive me, but you're but I'm going to be referring to you as Baja for this race. On our right-hand side, we have darkstar44044. We'll be referring to you as Darkstar, with Lenophis as their mentor, and I will be shorthanding Leno for them. Well, for anyone new to the channel or anyone just peeking in for the first time, let me explain. This is a mentor tournament. So, I am about to have some assistance here in the booth here in a second. But to continue my statement, this is a mentor tournament for Metroid Prime 2 Randomizer. What is that? Well, the base game is Metroid Prime 2, released on the GameCube in 2004. What have we done here? We've used a program called Randovania to randomize where everything is. So now we're on a secret hunt to find all of our missing items and complete the game with everything randomized.
That is great. I think I'm going to steal that and use that in the future.
It's something, I guess. How are you doing, Rico?
I'm doing fine. A lot better than I was this morning, but
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome Rico to the booth, and welcome our runners to the match. Currently here on the screen, we're showing we're still setting things up. Real time, we appear to have begun, but at this point, we are going with the restream. So here we are, and the clock starts. So Rico, I don't know about you, but have you tried anything in Randomizer 8.9 right about now? Because I've seen nothing but trash.
I have not yet.
I am semi-believing we may or may not be just full of trash because of Randomizer 8.9, but hey, that might be my experience.
Well, the last one was definitely out for blood.
Maybe Jet. We've got space jumps immediately, and the pause. No, not the pause on Darkstar side. What? And required. No, I take that back. Required Chica off the bat. Are you kidding me? Strap in, folks. This is a minimum 2.5 hour seed.
Guess we're going to be on the lookout for that cannonball.
Hopefully. Cannot remember if I mentioned or not, but we do not have any runner's agreement. So yes, Cannonball is shuffled as part of the base settings for the tournament, but we have no other runner's agreement, so therefore we are on the old Claris Pacture, and we have no multiplayer items shuffled. So the only advantage on that fight is going to be Cannonball. Alright, the restream is accurate. We have some cropping issues coming once again.
Now, what Darkstar has demonstrated is that you can actually just jump over that beam fence that locks you in the arena. And there's no collision on it from the outside, so you can shoot through it, but the Alpha Splinter or Dark Alpha Splinter can't shoot or charge at you from inside.
It's a beautiful thing to start with your Nikes on. But then again, here we are, we're doing it with charge beam, so... Yep. No damage, but this is a minute.
Can't have everything. On the other hand, it's not a particularly difficult boss, as the AI for Dark Alpha Splinter is actually really bad. And while the Alpha Splinter can lead and guess where you're going to be, the Dark Alpha Splinter cannot. So, if you just keep moving, you're pretty safe.
STK here in the transport access. Oh, this is an interesting seed forming already. Rico, were you in the room for the first Violet hint?
I didn't get to see it.
Already confirmed. STK on Chica. Chica required.
Oh, you hate to see that.
Runners hate to see that. I'm sure our commentary has some masochists in it that say, yes, we want content. And seeing the comments in chat, Jeff, Gains and Games, thank you so much. He is working on the speed gaming side, helping out with all of the issues. Jeff, you are not unseen. Thank you on the backside for speed gaming. Thank you for all of us doing good work out there, and we are looking good now on Darkstar's side. Thank you so much, Jeff.
So Powerbomb expansion in Taz, Darkstar, and McColyer are going to both immediately turn around and check what's in Dynamo Station, which is a suit. Now, this is not logical yet, but I don't think either of them cares.
Oh, you see the ability, you go for it. Hence, also, comm area is not logical, but light ammo, that's knowledge worth knowing. As Jeff points out, there's other people on Speed Gaming that are helping out right now, giving their love to. So, thank you guys all for making sure this stream is up and helping us out. And on the Ing Reliquary hint, beam related.
Now, that is most likely dead, but I think there technically is a world where that could be super missiles or annihilator beam in Reliquary. I personally would not want to live in that world.
No, Ing Reliquary is not a fun shack.
Missile in Accursed Lake. That is 100% dead because besides missile launcher, the only other missile item that could be hinted would be Seekers, and Seekers is logically required for that.
That is true.
McColyer and Baja demonstrating that that crate at GFMC can in fact be duped if you trigger the cutscene after you break the crate.
Yep. The item within is duplicated based off of the cutscene, and depending upon what it is, it either duplicates it in full or is just a number in the back end and kind of just hangs there. So stuff like Emerald Translator, yeah, you get one, but...
Were you able to catch what was in Mining Plaza?
I did not know. But Light
And there
Beam,
is Light Beam.
that's mining station access, right?
Yep. Now, normally what McColyer and Baja just did would be a soft lock because they don't have the Emerald Translator to scan the gate and get back into Great Temple. But the randomizer features something called a save warp, where you can just go to a save station and warp to the starting room.
Absolutely.
And there is Amber Translator.
That's portal chamber access, right?
I believe so. I always forget what that room's called.
wisely going back and collecting hints. What was on Judgment Pit? I missed the first part of that hint for Judgment Pit. And bombs on Sand Cache.
I thought I saw Dark Beam, but don't quote me on that because I didn't get a good look at the hint.
I've started to focus on the back half. Ooh, Emerald in Storage B? Is that Storage B?
I believe so. And Darkstar demonstrating that early game bosses are incredibly weak to power bombs. You are not supposed to have this item at this point, so several early game bosses can just be instantly killed if you can hit them with a power bomb. And thankfully, if you just stand still at the start of the Bomb Guardian fight, it will charge you, and it is vulnerable to power bombs while it is charging. Okay,
Dark
that
Beam.
one was the Dark Beam hint.
Where did it say? I saw Dark Beam and I saw Temple Grounds?
Yeah, Dark Beam is in Temple Grounds.
Alright. Meanwhile, on MColyer side,
That is an SDK.
that's an SDK in Mining Plaza. Oh.
So we've got 2 required bosses so far.
Chica and Amorbus are required. Chica because it hosts the STK, and Amorbus because Mining Plaza access. This is a seed. This is a seed.
So for some reason, the little echo beacons in Mining Plaza Axis do not spawn until after you have returned the planetary energy in Aegon. I couldn't tell you why that is, but it does mean that you have to beat Amorbus in order to make that check essentially doable without some pretty high-level tricks. And Dark Pirates are not bosses, but they too are incredibly weak to power bombs. Thanks, game. Light beam hint after light beam. So the interesting thing about this puzzle is that the game actually only checks to see if the third lens has been put into place. So you cannot lower the other 2 and just do that third one, and the game will activate the portal.
Absolutely. Currently with Space Jump, there's several ways to get there.
You can actually do it NSJ. Well, you have to lower the first lens, but you can skip the second.
On MColyer side, yeah, missile.
Oh, that's Seekers in Judgment Pit. Wait, no, that we haven't seen Launcher. That could be Launcher.
Here's what I know, Judgment Pit. That's a location. Alright. MColyer finally coming up on Bomb Guardian. Meanwhile, we have Darkstar navigating the room for Jump Guardian. Skipping that to head to Broom Closet.
Thankfully, with that dark suit they picked up, Dark Aegon movement is not particularly dangerous, even without extra E-tanks.
Absolutely. That Dark Suit takes us from 6 damage points per second down to 1.2, if I'm not mistaken. Darkstar opting, let's have a second power bomb. Taking it and rolling out. Alright, so now, as everyone loves to point out for our newest audience members, why are we shooting this space next to the statue? My goodness, isn't this a waste of ammunition?
Well, it turns out that the hurt box for the Jump Guardian is actually already loaded into this room. It's sitting right there in front of that statue where it jumps from in this cutscene. So you can just stand in relative safety and just put shots into it to lower its health before the fight starts. Now, for one reason or another, you can't actually kill Jump Guardian before the fight starts. Even if you take out all of its health, it will always be required to be hit twice. And that is, in fact, Missile Launcher in Judgment Pit. Another weird thing about Jump Guardian is that it is weak to uncharged light beam shots, but not to charged light beam shots.
E-tank and Crossway. That's Crossway, right?
That is Junction Site.
Junction Site, yeah. Yep, I'm having one of them. Yep. Forgive us, folks. Every last runner around, if you're not mega knowledge, you'll have room name struggles. Don't even ask us about ink caches 1 through 4, or storage 1 through 4, storage A through D, or... Yeah, thanks, game. Naming. LOL.
We have ink caches 1, 2, and 4, and storage is B, C, and D.
Umos is logical power bomb.
That is interesting.
That's interesting. That will mess with logic in your head. To describe this for the audience, with a randomizer, you have a set of rules. And the rules in this randomizer were set to 17 levels of tricks, non-existent, and 8 at beginner. Now, I could go into detail with a lot of that, but what that means is we're not expected to do a lot of crazy things to acquire things. So, logically speaking, power bombs are a needed item to get through power bomb doors. And for them to be on the second iteration of Umos, aka needing to return the Aegon energy from Quad, means that's a late game.
So, this is actually interesting because it means that this seed logically requires all 3 bosses because we know a suit was powerbomb locked. The game will always consider light suit to be logical for the final bosses, even though you don't need it.
That's...
The reason for that is because in Emperor Ing and Dark Samus, there are no light beacons. So the logic assumes you need light suit to stop that ticking damage.
Yep, Yeah, beginner logic and no lot or beginner tricks and no tricks are very lenient, as especially since this is a mentor race. We are very much shoot. Bad phrasing, but in short, no. Our runners are not exactly what you'd call the or the top of the top for ski running. Defiled
Defiled
Shrine is.
Shrine Key.
All right, let me write that down. No, we're not exactly these are not top level speedrunners that are setting world records here. These are guys or gals or non-binary pals that have picked up the game, like the randomizer, and decided I want to race him. So the tricks are not set to be torturous or bad. They are set to be accessible with beginner level knowledge, where you can know a trick or two, but you're not expected to do the most horrendous things in the game to get by. And Super's an Inkatch B.
That is a good find. So with supers, we know that Emerald Translator is available. So that might start pushing them to route towards Torvis.
Absolutely, and that's one of the big. It's one of the big decisions, especially with our newer runners, is when to move into Torvis, or generally move out of Aegon is the better way to phrase that one. Because the game logically pushes you from the Temple Grounds into Aegon as its first place to go. And so, generally, if the randomizer places a lot of things in Aegon, or if you generally feel like there may be progression in Aegon, you're more tempted to stay there. But there's always a bit of wait. Do you believe the randomizers placed anything in the further places of Aegon, or do you move into some of the later stages of the game without checking those things and save time against that? It's always one of those bigger gambles to have. I know in my experience, that's one of the ones I've struggled with the most, is the gamble between when do I abandon Aegon and head out versus do I abandon the checks here in the back part of Aegon? Maybe they have something. So here in this tournament, that's a question mark to be answered. But right now, MColyer are going back into Aegon. We'll see where they're headed from here.
My guess would be Labs, and there is Dark Beam on the ship.
Dark Beam on top of ship. Oh, goodness.
And it looks like, once again, Baja is being punished by GFMC. For those of you new to the community, McCollier's mentor, Baja, is somewhat famous for missing the check in GFMC.
FDA. Which keys? Dark Torvis keys, Aegon, and Sank.
So what Darkstar is attempting here is he is trying to peek what item is in Fortress Transport Access, or FTA. You can jump into the ceiling at a certain angle and actually get a quick glimpse at what the item is if you do it right.
Yeah, when you're doing that, pay attention to the top of the screen. That's where the glitch will happen. Well, at the top, like eighth of the screen, if you can get a hint, if you can get a peek. I, unfortunately, could not see anything.
Neither could I.
MColyer making their way into Dark Aegon, and Darkstar finding out transport on Sank side is just a missile expansion. MColyer not having Dark Beam, heading down the fast route to Jump Guardian. Meanwhile, Darkstar heading down the Torvis side of the Temple, the Sky Temple. Got a couple of hints down here, and with super missiles and Amber, pretty straightforward access to Torvis.
Not only that, but you could pick up most of the Torvis hints.
Absolutely. Emerald translator in hand. Torvis is very explorable and very good right now. Hint is Emerald translator, 2 rooms from progressive suit. Thanks, game.
Okay, so the way the hints seem to be distributed, I'm thinking the game actually wants to push them into Sank early to take out Quad. That
seems like a good logic chain based off of PBs being on the return to Yumos.
Yeah, so we have early hints pointing to that suit and the power bombs. Amorbus himself is just a light expansion, so you won't really get rewarded for beating the boss, but you gotta do it for that key.
Yep. Now, that said, we are not under previous, the last tournament's rules. We have out-of-bounds at our disposal. If Darkstar either can pull it off, or if Leno can guide them through it, there is an advanced trick. Highly advanced trick. You may not need a Morbus, but that's something to catch on to later. Maybe they know the trick, maybe they don't. But we shall see. What is that on Darkstar's side? Is that a ball?
That looks like Grav. So this is not logical without Grapple Beam or Screw Attack, but it is collectible through a Scan Dash. Getting over there is not too difficult, but getting back is a little trickier because you have to bend the dash forwards. So basically what a Scan Dash is we're taking advantage of a flaw in the code to propel ourselves sideways much faster than we should be able to do. And on McCollier's side, we have a check of Warrior's Walk with that, following that super missile logic.
just a missile on Warrior's Walk, but now they're continuing on, and we see a red key in Battleground.
Which we know is technically logically required. And Darkstar lands the dash. Oh, that was Grapple Beam!
Alright.
So, that tells us that logically Grapple Beam is behind Screw Attack.
That is... Alright, on MColyer side, Dark Agon key in Battleground. Did you catch what was in Grand Wind Chamber?
I did not.
Peeked away for the brief second. They must have seen something not worth the time, because that was a brief second peek as well.
Well, they don't have Screw Attack, so can't really get it, and they don't have Boost Ball or Seeker, so they can't do it vanilla.
Correct. Where are you at? I just missed what was on Darkstar's side for the Keybearer hint.
I looked away at that exact moment as well. So I imagine that neither runner is likely going to do quad unless they get a hint that quad is something. Because, they can just bypass those main power bombs with the expansions they've already picked up.
Absolutely. But at this point, it's the constant question, and it's the one thing amongst this being a race, is where does the logic point at? So, when do you start to understand that should you be checking power bomb lock checks without having power bombs? And there's Dark Agon hints in Agon, and I missed.
Dark Agon.
Agon and Dark Agon. Alright.
Another thing to consider is that it might actually be worth it in the long run to return the Sank energy. Because doing Tumos gives you the ability to warp between the areas. And it may not seem like much, but just having the ability, there is the logical Dark Suit. But having the ability to warp between the energy controllers can actually save a lot of time on routing.
Absolutely.
And chat is saying that Poison Bog is a missile-related upgrade.
Poison Bog, missile related. Gotcha. Warp to start from MColyer. Little stream drop on Darkstar side. Little technical difficulties, please bear with us. There we go.
I did not get a look at what's in Putrid Alcove, but it appears Darkstar did, and he does not want it.
I've no good intel either, but if they're proceeding without it with power bombs, it must have been just ammo. Meanwhile, we are taking the portal. This just the check. Yeah, there's the light suit.
Okay, so now if they're following the logic, they're likely going to be looking for Echo Visor and Spider to show up to tell them that their light suit is logical. And McColyer picks up his Dark Beam.
Dark Tortoise, hang on a sec. And a missile and cash beam. And Collier trying the peak there at FTA. While Darkstar making their way out of the... dang it, I'm tripping up on my words here. Darkstar making their way back to the portal, get back to light upper Torvis. And meanwhile, McCollier probably heading to the temple. Gonna hit that save station. Make their way back around. Darkstar attempting the extended dash. No, oh, and STK. That's Worker's Path, correct?
Yep.
STK in Worker's Path. And with Grapple Beam, as soon as they get to the other set, if they're not bullied first. When they get back to the other side...
Sporbs are my least favorite enemy in this game. I have named every single one after a member of tech support at my job.
Something tells me tech support's not exactly the best thing around at your job.
No, they are not.
Meanwhile, missile expansion in... is that Great Bridge?
Yeah, this one is Great Bridge, and the other bridge is Forgotten Bridge.
Yep. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I get those two confused all the time.
Darkstar making their way to Light Torvis Temple. Meanwhile, McCollier finding their way towards Torvis.
And that little space pirate skiff, as Darkstar demonstrated, can be destroyed by hitting it in the right spot with a charged light beam. You can also screw attack into it, and that is a lot easier. This fight is a little difficult with no E, but Darkstar gets through it without much problem.
Not at all. That's another point to point out right now. This has been light on the E so far.
I think the only E-Tank we've seen was locked behind Spider Ball.
MColyer needs to watch out, but so far, alright, crates are helping. Yeah, we're a little light on the early E, so this might be...
One nice thing about Echoes is that it tends to drop what you need. So if you're low on health, you're almost certainly going to get a health drop if you can find something breakable. Have no missiles, it'll give you missiles so long as you have at least 10 max. And McCollier is, at this point, largely following the same path that Darkstar did. Right by the grapple beam and checking Grand Wind Chamber. I think that was just a missile. And McCollier is also realizing that he only needs to dash there, he can grapple back. And we have our first E-Tank.
Yeah. Torvus Temple access. Nice. However, did not miss that one in the Torvus energy controller. That hint Seeker launcher in Pod W.
That is fully accessible.
We're following the captain strats. Oh, yep, cautious, and it turns to be boost ball. But no, we continue into this loop.
And it appears that once again there was $10,000 lining the walls of the banana stand.
Meanwhile, the hint in the banana stand, aggressive suit, Surrey game. We already have them both. Darkstar. Oh, no, you did not catch both pirates. Hopefully not stuck. Yep. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that pirate, for some reason, can get itself stuck inside the tree. In which case, the only way to damage it is to shoot charged dark beam at the ground and have the particles hit him.
What was that? I did not catch that. That looked shiny and blue.
I thought it was ammo, but I could be completely wrong.
I thought I saw an essence around it. It might be a ball upgrade in Med Vista, but I could not catch it. Maybe it was an ETM though, but that looked shiny and blue to me. Meantime, Darkstar continuing on. Heading into Forgotten Bridge on this side, so as they have boost ball, they can spin the spinner, get the gate open. And alright, saving arena access for later.
Plaza access in the light world.
Yeah, Plaza access. Thank you. Yes, it is only Torvus Arena in the Dark World.
Now, Plaza access is logical. Torvus Plaza is not.
It is not. We Even if they knew the screw attack method of getting around the spider tracks, we still don't have spider to speak of whatsoever, nor screw.
That is an E-tank. I mean, if I'm Darkstar, I get that right here.
Yep. Only one E-tank thus far. Yeah, this one, 20 seconds on the half pipe. Yeah, we take that.
Okay, so Boost
Yeah.
Guardian is another boss that is weak to Power Bomb, but there's a trick here. So the Power Bomb will actually cause him to stagger. See how he staggered backwards and got pushed? If you drop your Power Bomb too early, he will stagger out of its range, and you will hit one of his damage thresholds that triggers a boost stage. So the safest way to deal with that is to just wait for him to slash at you and then drop your power bomb. After he slashes, he will immediately drop down into the puddle, and the puddle doesn't stagger. So you could hit him multiple times with that power bomb explosion, and it will take down all of his health before he hits one of those HP threshold triggers.
Darkstar opting for the warp to start. You know, while MColyer finding out, yep, that's your other suit. MColyer opting to open the gate on the side. Ooh, oh.
Yeah, with no E, several things in this game that you don't normally really think about can be life-threatening.
Yeah. Definitely probably making them A, safety save here, and B, reconsider heading back to the upper portion of Torvis access to drop down through the tunnel and get that E-tank that's there. Because they went through they used the scan to ride the elevator down. They had to have seen the E-tank there. I think if you're going to be interested in finding that suit, your first stop is, let's stop on by and grab some E.
And Darkstar picking up his Seeker launcher. So what you see McColyer attempting to do right here is called a bomb space jump. So when you leave the ground in Morph Ball form, there is actually a brief 22-second window where the game still considers you grounded. So if you can somehow get control of Samus back while within that frame window, you can initiate a space jump in midair. Think sort of like Wile E. Coyote running after the Roadrunner, where it takes a couple seconds before he starts falling once he goes off that cliff. Now, the way that you regain control of Samus in midair is to skip the animation that normally plays when you unmorph. And in order to do that, you need to obscure the camera so the game cannot play the animation. So McColyer is getting his back up against this wall, then bomb jumping with backwards momentum to push the camera into that wall. So when he unmorphs, if he does it right, it goes immediately back to him in control.
I'm looking at their side, and Collier probably... Oh, no, now we're getting it. Alright. Never mind. Meanwhile, Darkstar heading for Hall of Honor Dead. I didn't see what it is, but the immediate turnaround when they have Boost Ball means it ain't important.
Fun fact, Morph Ball bombs actually can be placed in Hall of Honor Dead.
I've had that. So long as the seed preset has 3 power bombs, the game will consider it logical, as power bombs can make you exit the Boost Ball spinners. Except you've gotta be right. Because if you don't get the sequence right, 3 power bombs is not gonna get you enough to redo the sequence. Meanwhile, hints on Darkstar's side. Ask me how I know on Hall of Honor Dead, you need to make sure you have all 3 power bombs in your inventory before you start to try and do that puzzle.
You tried with 2?
No, tried with 2 of 3. But yes, 2. Ooh. Okay.
And that
That
is
looks like
Annihilator. So it is Dark Visor locked.
That's War Ritual Grounds, right? For Annihilator?
You are correct.
Alright, and key hints on Darkstar's side. 2 collected, 7 left to go. E8 is under Temple. Main reactor. Defiled Shrine.
Dynamo Works.
Mining Plaza, we knew that one. Hall of Combat Mastery.
Was it main reactor or main research?
I saw main reactor on SDK1. That's what I thought I saw.
I thought I saw main research, but we'll see soon enough.
They went pretty quick, so and opting for the save or for the warp out.
So besides all three main bosses, this seed also logically requires Spider Guardian and probably Power Bomb Guardian as well. There are 2 checks in Undertemple. One of them is on the Screw Attack wall, which you can get without fighting Power Bomb Guardian, and the other is Power Bomb Guardian itself. Dynamo Works, there are 2 checks there, one on Spider Guardian and the other in the tunnel on the way out of that boss arena. If it's in the tunnel, you can avoid having to fight Spider Guardian by doing an instant morph into that tunnel's exit. So if you're the runners right here, you're hoping that it's on that one. Otherwise, you're going to have to track down Cobalt.
Meanwhile, Darkstar, this appears to be mineshaft play. Yep. Just a missile on mineshaft. We're continuing on. Mining Station B.
So logically, it looks like the items we are looking for are Spider, probably Cobalt, Dark Visor, and Echo Visor. And, of course, our keys.
Station B. I missed that. Dark ammo and storage A.
So Echo Visor couldn't have been there because that was powerbomb locked, which we know is
opting for vanilla. This has gotta be. I think that's screw attack in Mining Station B. It was yellow.
If it's yellow and he wants it, then yeah, it's gotta be.
Skipping the hint too, yeah. I didn't catch it on my end, but yellow and skip the hint first to get that. Joke hint, thanks game. But they are seeking this one pretty aggressively. Enough to do it vanilla, so yellow screw attack's the only thing I think that's there that'd be worth this level of. And yeah. Definitely.
Looks like Darkstar's going for the slope jump method.
Yeah, vanilla, this room takes a minute or two, so if they can get this one off.
That was very nice.
And they do. Yep, and that is screw. Very nice. Well done on Darkstar's side.
So now we're mostly just looking for the visors. So we know we're not going to find Echo Visor on any power bomb or light suit check because Echo has to be in logic before that point because of quad. Dark Visor, we're not quite sure where that fits in yet, so that could be at the end of the logic chain.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, missile expansion and Sand Canyon. We headed in. Yep. No, no cutscene there, Darkstar. Meanwhile, vent area A. Ah, you're not far enough forward, MColyer. But you got the missiles to cover. Yeah, send a super for both of them.
I personally would have grabbed that because you know where Annihilator is, and Sonic Boom can actually be very useful. Now, this isn't logical, but going to check these checks in Spider Side that we refer to as Spider Treasure is often worth it, even if it's not in logic.
Wait, did Darkstar get entire? Oh, that's a bad death over there.
Orphis Temple?
Yep. How far back did that put MColyer?
Well, behind Boost Ball, but they do have. Looks like Dark Suit, so they gotta pick up that again, Light Suit again. So I think their last save was that one we saw them do when they entered Torvis.
Yeah, it's a bad time loss. You never want to see that.
And it looks like Darkstar struggled a bit with that powerbomb placement. But they did get a good chunk of health off, so Dark Samus 1 is another boss that can be instantly deleted with a power bomb. And there is a manipulation where you can get it very reliably by immediately morphing and rolling to your left. She will strafe that direction as well and bump right into you, and you can just place a power bomb there. Otherwise, you run the risk of her dashing out of it, which is what happened here.
Yep. Although same as Dark Samus 3, Dark Beam and Missile Stun can make shorter work if you've run out of power bombs. And so we've reset the room by grabbing the item in storage D, checking that. Did we scan the key bearer? Nope, realizing
Not
that
yet.
now. Alright, key bearer and main reactor is missile related. Alright.
Another easy kill on Dark Samus 1 is uncharged Annihilator shots. For whatever reason, that does 5 times damage to her. And Darkstar entering the worst Morph Ball tunnel in the game. In fact, it's not actually a Morph Ball tunnel. They didn't program a tunnel there. They cut a Morph Ball-sized hole in the wall's collision, and that's why you get stuck on it all the time.
That's nuts.
And we have a Dark Torvis key, which is 100% required. There is no way around Shika.
That was key 3, correct?
Probably, I thought 2, but I was not looking very close.
It seemed a little garbled on my screen. So that's why I'm asking. Alright, MColyer's got the light suit again. And while Darkstar taking the cautious way around the laser beams.
Yeah, I normally try to screw attack onto that super door from the other side of the room. I tend to hit that little outcropping in the wall every time as well.
Oh, the ceiling collision here in Bioenergy is horrible. I know I'd have not. I cannot accurately describe it from the image that was given to me for the actual like polygons that exist in here, but I know it's just it's a time. It's the geometry is one of the geometries of all time. Meanwhile, that red key. We're setting up to just base jump up to the track, eh? Alright. So if I'm not mistaken, this is a slope jump into standable.
Ooh,
jump into... yeah, there you go.
McColyer is fighting those pirate
Oh.
commanders with no E. That is not something I would... Yep.
Oh.
I don't recommend that. So the trigger for those commandos is actually moving the bridge. But if you're not comfortable with doing the scan dash we saw Darkstar do earlier, you don't really have another option but to move that bridge.
Yeah. That is unfortunate.
Torvis without E is not fun. The only thing it's more fun than is Sank without E.
No. Throwing Hive is its own separate entity. They are two different things. Both of those without E are definitely garbage. Darkstar coming up on Command Center.
And there is E.
Oh. Okay, that's E.
Just ignoring that Grenadier like he's not even there.
Well, that explains that. This is where all the E was. The Aegon Labs.
Yeah, it seems the game wanted them to go here a little earlier.
I mean, in Darkstar's aspect, this one's kind of paid off because they were able to transit with the... because they were on no E and a single E for a while, so that was not the end of the world for them. But... yeah.
And
You're
what
down here.
is feeding
Oh,
pits?
you're down here. Check it. Check it. Okay, just a missile.
And McColyer collecting his light suit for the third time. He's just really being punished by that lack of E.
Absolutely. It's slightly... it would have stuck out in my head earlier. Maybe they have forgotten that it's there. But they did go through Torvis Arena access on the lower side. There was a visual on their screen to see the E-Tank there. I'm surprised they have not gone through there to get it. But then again, I don't know.
And Darkstar demonstrating one of my favorite tricks. That Pirate Commando Corpse is actually standable. And you can slope jump off of it to avoid lowering the platform.
Darkstar opting to collect this Aegon key. indicating no, we're not likely to see the Aegon Temple out of bounds skip in this race. Which, quite frankly, yeah, that one's one of the harder ones, so can't blame them. You don't know that skip like the back of your hand. Sometimes it is faster to find the 3 keys in the world. Alright, Warrior's Walk, finding out that, nope, just some ammo down there. Continuing on.
So our big mysteries are still that Dark Visor and the Spider Ball.
Darkstar. I'm sorry, we are civilized individuals here. Leave the light bearers alone.
And that is our final Dark Aegon key.
That's just hash 4, right?
Yes, that one is number 4. So, with the kit that Darkstar has, a Morbus shouldn't give him any problems. He's got a good chunk of light ammo, he's got boost ball to potentially do worm skip, and he's got light suit, so no matter where he stands, he won't take damage.
Absolutely. Is the comms on Darkstar? Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, my SpeedGaming control page is deciding to be evil. It's still loading, so sorry, no worm jams at the moment. But Darkstar attempting and succeeding. We do have worm skip on Darkstar's side.
So the way worm skip works is that if you can damage both of those worms before the first worm detaches from the sphere, the cutscene that normally plays here to signal the phase change will not play. And phase 3 will start with 2 worms instead of 3. If you worm skip again, you will softlock yourself because you need a cutscene to play.
Worm jam. Alright, so bit of a rare occasion for a randomizer race, but Darkstar coming back here, we need to return the energy to gain access to the mining plaza. Check, where we know there's an SDK. So now for the very rare, red and cloudy, dark Aegon sky. But now with this layer active, well, first we're just gonna screw attack over Dark Torvis Temple on our way back through, but this is gonna return the energy to Lightside Aegon. Get the sun out, it'll be a little bit brighter over there. But once we get into Mining Plaza, well, if your ears are sensitive enough to pick it up, well, we're gonna be hearing some sounds. MColyer.
McCollier has gotten their boost ball and is making forward progress.
Dorvis Grove into Meditation Vista. And they're taking another look at it.
Oh, was that Grav?
Yeah, that looks like backpack.
Okay, so Grav boost is screw attack locked. Screw attack is boost ball locked, so Grav boost is technically in logic once McCollier gets those seekers, which he scanned the hint, so he knows they are in Pod W.
Now, doing the logical thing, completing the loop on the backside, opening up this gate is very valuable if you don't know the skip on the wall there in Forgotten Bridge. So at the very least, get this gate down, have your shortcut back in here. And they are proceeding.
Now, Darkstar did do this check, so if, say, Spider ends up being here, that could be a huge lead for McCollier.
Absolutely. And this is one of those calculated risks on Darkstar's side, and they skipped it. And if this is isolated, this is a time sink for sure. But it's all about the payout. Meantime, letting the cutscene play. The energy return there in Aegon. Based. Alright. Go healing to the planet of Aether. I dig it.
And it's E.
It's E, but in their case, yeah, I don't think they're disappointed to see E.
Yeah, I'd say that this was worth the time sink just because of how sparse E has been in this seed.
meantime, Darkstar heading to portal chamber access.
Rob, at the moment, I would say that Darkstar is ahead. But always keep in mind, in these races, things can change on a dime.
Actually, I would give Darkstar the firm lead. I do not know. Has MColyer been to hints yet?
That is a good point. MColyer has not been to hints because they have not picked up their Seeker launcher.
So this one, I would firmly give Darkstar the advantage based off of knowledge. Now, that's not to say that because of the extra checks MColyer's putting in, if they come across Spider, then that can open up a huge advantage. But right about now, Torvis Arena here is a check that has already been checked on Darkstar's side, so we're not making extra progress here, even though there's E to be had in Arena. Meanwhile, Darkstar coming back, they must have remembered Grav is here.
Which tells me that likely their next stop is Lower Torvis.
Exactly. Yep, that movement, definitely. MColyer opting for the warp to start. And now Darkstar and Lower Torvis. And when you can get the backpack on, you can definitely get some good angles for those Seeker missers.
That was an impressive shot, but it kind of makes me mad because I miss those all the time.
Oh, how many times? Oh, I can remember my original playthroughs back in the day. And yeah, nah. I broke a controller there once. Granted, at that point in time, I was cheap and it was a Mad Catz, but I broke a controller there once. Movement system in Temple Grounds.
So that is that grapple beam.
Yep. Now the interesting thought process here is that there's a lot of people that believe you have to be on the back portion behind the grate to do the screw attack, but no, you just get enough height off of the ledge there in the water, get out of the water, and the screw attack works just fine. Even more E, we're starting to get healthy now.
Our big questions remain Spider and Visors, and the little we know about Visors tells us that Dark Visor cannot be Annihilator locked, and Echo Visor cannot be Power Bomb or Light Suit locked. I would say Spider probably has the same logical settings here as the Echo, because I believe the game considers Spider logical for Quad to get out of the room.
Yeah, these beginner settings would be spider logical for not only leaving the room, but for finishing the third phase of the fight.
Yeah, so that cannot be Spider Ball.
Now that said, that was dungeon set of morph ball related item, wasn't it?
Yep, which is light suit locked, so and we know that Spider has to come up before light suit, since light suit was power bomb locked, and Quad has the main power bombs.
Correct. Movement system in Med Vista. Thank you, game. We needed that to get here in the first place. Well, not needed, but...
Definitely made it less painful. Now, this could be Spider Ball. And, you know, with the way this seed has been going, I wouldn't be surprised if Spider was on blog.
I couldn't be surprised either. Right now we got Burger here. That's under temple access, right?
Yes. No, it's not called... Yes, it is called that in the Dark World.
Yeah.
It's hydro storage access in the Light World.
Yeah. Because it's hydro chamber storage down here. Which
Oh my god.
creep in slowly to scan. No, it's
Cannonball.
cannon. Yeah.
You
Darkstar
probably want that because of Chika.
No, not immediately. This one being right here, I'm happy to leave that right there as it sits.
Good point, because you can just grab it when you're actually going to Spider Guardian. Or Powerbomb Guardian.
Correct. Grab that on the way. Grab that just before. Meantime, MColyer about to find their hints. Under Temple main research.
So you know where Dark Visor could be? Sank entrance. Yes, Darkstar does have hits.
So wait, what? Huh?
Darkstar is going for those STKs, most likely. I don't know if I really agree with this play at this point, because you know you need those visors, and you know they can't be here. Well, Echo could, but it most likely means that Dark Visor is somewhere before this, because Dark Visor appears to be your logical way into sync.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Wow. All right.
Yeah, since there's 3 ways into sync.
I'm yeah. No,
Yeah, and obviously the seed wants them to go through the front door, for which you need Dark Visor and Seekers.
Yep.
Also, this room is not so fun without Spider. You have to slope jump up on top of this door to get out of here. And those quads generally don't like to let you do that.
We do have Dark Beam, we do have Boost. They can be exterminated, but yeah, that's you want to collect that right now. I hope he's good at this bonk, because I spend too much time on this bonk going down. Therefore, I like to,
And first try. But now he's got to climb back up that door again. And look who's waiting for him.
back up the door with 2 quads, just deciding to spin around and tell him, hey, spin-a-rooney. Go all Booker T on him in the 90s. Nope, gets a standable, and there we go. Pretty clean. Ooh, meanwhile... Alright, high key. Very good. Annihilator Beam knowledge... Annihilator Beam knowledge plus... potential... BSJ... Yeah, the Inghive keys are kind of a meme. Meanwhile, MColyer finding out. Crew attack's not a fun location today. Darkstar in Mini Gyro. We are in old patcher, so therefore this is the old pattern, which is never randomized. It is original, and therefore they can memorize it and never need to look up the hint.
I personally can never remember it, so I always have to look up the hint. There are several ways to get this STK without Spider. Doesn't look like Darkstar is going for them right now, though.
Potential persuasion. I mean, with Hazing Cliff and what is it, dark version of Holo Combat.
Culling Chamber.
Culling Chamber. These 2 checks, it's valuable until to nope, and deciding nope, we'll take the 10 damage and say bye-bye, Mr. Metroid. Fun fact in Hazing Cliff, if you take the fall, Metroid just despawns. All that for light ammo though, so call the trade-off what you will. That appears to be dark ammo. Or is that dark burst? I can't quite tell.
Either way, you cannot get that without Spider unless you are willing to do an out of bounds. And McColyer is employing the exact same strategy that we saw Darkstar use to get this screw attack.
Absolutely. Oh. And now Darkstar deciding, no, you're not ruining my ledge. You are to be exterminated.
You can actually get this item with a BSJ. The setup itself actually is basically normalized by default, because doing a BSJ off of that column back there puts you at pretty much the exact right distance to do a single screw into that tunnel.
Not just the column, but there's the column, the beam. There's a couple angles. It's a lot of player preference, because the straight on is the usual, but you can also, as just demonstrated there, come off of that column for not the BSJ. But yeah, if you get the rhythm down and the timing, that BSJ can become very, very just instinctual.
Mm-hmm. Also, there is a way to do this without Spider or Screw Attack. You can just jump off of that column and instant morph into the tunnel if you're in the right spot.
That one I've not known about. However, that sounds precise.
Yeah, I've seen it done like once. I have never been able to do it myself. So it looks like Darkstar needs to cancel a little earlier because he's bonking out of the tunnel. Oh, nope, he gets it right there. Easiest way to guarantee a runner gets the check is to mention that you think they're doing it wrong.
Hence leading to me asking, are they good with this no spider ball, spider track? Yeah.
I mean, alternatively, they could just do it vanilla and go back to the Dark World. Because all you need to logically get through there is grapple and seekers, which they have.
In a race once or twice never does hurt if you can get it within 2, 3, 4 tries. That's one thing, but you do need to be conscious. Ah, there we go. Time loss averted. A couple of places where it's worth it to attempt a couple of things, or to attempt the strategy a couple of times.
And we are about to find out which dynamo check the key is, and it's the tunnel. So Cobalt can be skipped.
Oh, tempting hint. Life support system. E-tank. Sorry, Darkstar, you got plenty enough. Well, you need to conserve some of it, but you have the capacity for plenty enough right now. Are we attempting the save here? Not speaking bad. We may not know the skip back there. But however, we also could just be doing the muscle memory, carry on through here, do this puzzle, here's the save station, hit the save station, then head back. And continuing through, and main dynamo, that we may not have confidence in the trick, as Soaring mentioned. So we could be saving on to that SDK for a while, to a dead lull, or maybe if we do have Cobalt. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask, did anyone catch what was in Temple Access? I did not.
I didn't get a great look, but it looked like an E-tank to me.
Okay. They didn't immediately go for it. The only thing left that's blue is gonna be Spider. So we've seen Cannonball and everything else that's blue. Meanwhile, heading over to... Excuse me. Heading
Vault.
into the vault. That looks like light ammo. Not worth the puzzle time. Oh, excuse me. Foregoing watch station.
Well, they don't have Spider.
Ah, yes, true.
And there is a Dark Torvis key.
Dark Torvis key 1.
They got the hint for the Dark Torvis keys, right?
As I recall, yes.
That might have been what they were looking for then. Since
Yeah,
they know where Cannonball is.
Yeah, that was the hint on FTA. The Dark Torvis keys. They were Aegon and Sanctuary Fortress, so...
Yeah, I completely forgot that there was a Torvis key in Sank.
Started treading some old ground. Guess they're thinking Torvis Plaza access. Which we've seen from MColyer's side. They have gotta be on the hunt for Spider Ball at this point. Seem a little hyper-focused on it.
McColyer demonstrating that all of those light crystals are in fact standable. If you hit them with Dark Beam, it's a little easier to stand on top of them.
But they are all standable in all forms, however, yes, the deactivated crystals, yes. Wider hitbox and taller hitbox. You actually gain some height by deactivating them with Dark Beam. Which is why no screw attack if you want to escape the worms fight. If you've got space jump boots, you can still escape Dark Agon Arena or Dark Agon Temple by dark beaming the light crystal there and then just a normal space jump out. It'll give you enough height to get out of the arena or to get out of the temple. There's a difference there, Steve. Arena and temple, not the same thing.
Well, I mean, what is an arena but a temple to those who love combat?
Cue the Mortal Kombat sounds. Yep, I'm done. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Soaring. Sorry, what? Thank you, Soaring Wyvern. I try. It's content.
Now, the nice thing is that if you pre-activate those light beacons in Battleground, as McColyer has done, most of the warrior ing will run straight into them, so you don't have to do most of this fight.
Now, the key word there is most. If you activate all of them, I can't confirm. Some of those blobs will stay there until the light, or until at least one light field deactivates. You need to leave one unshot, so that way the computer program thinks, okay, I've got a safe area over here, because it's got to be a programming something. But yes, I've done many a times. I've shot every last one of them before activating the fight, and all of a sudden, kill the first two warrior ring there with a power bomb, and the next one to spawn is in its bubble phase and just chilling in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't move, doesn't do anything until all of a sudden one of the light beam bubbles goes away, and then it moves, and then it's gone.
And phase on ground appears to be nothing. So at this point, Dark Visor can be Sank Entrance, or it can also be in Lower Dark Torvis. Like Grapple Guardian, that does not require Dark Visor to get to it.
Yep, right about now.
Yeah, it's time to bite the bullet. Sank entrance sounds about the most logical at this moment.
There's also that seeker check in Upper Dark Torvis. I don't think either runner had seekers when they walked past that door.
Ooh, yeah, you could be correct. I do not remember seeing anyone checking that either.
I have attempted to switch to the worm jam. I have no idea if it actually worked.
It took. I can hear word and jam.
But yeah, besides those checks, I don't really think there's anywhere else that Dark Visor can be, because we know it can't be in Profane Path, because it blocks Annihilator. It can't be in the Transit Tunnel, because Annihilator locked. It can't be anywhere in Sank, because we need it for logical access. And let's see. It can't be an in-cache too, because, again, Annihilator.
Never did get the best of peaks from FTA, but that is also a logical lock based off of light suit, correct?
Yes. Since Dark Visor is needed to get into Sank, it can't be FTA, because power bombs are in Sank and power bombs lock light suit.
Yep. Darkstar is about to make the play for, oh my goodness, the room name of this place.
It's one of the caches. I can't remember which letter.
Cache and ETM for our troubles, not validating
Ooh.
our working, but at this point, nah.
I mean, at this point, based on where they are, if I was in their shoes, I would probably do lower Dark Torvis, just because it's closer. But I'm really thinking that it's Sank Entrance, considering how long Sank Entrance has actually been in Logic. Actually, no, it can't be Sank Entrance, because logically that requires power bombs.
Logically, power bombs and Spider Ball itself.
Yep.
So no, we're talking Grapple Guardian.
We know it can't be Dungeon. I think it has to be Grapple Guardian. Actually, no, it could be the what is that? Under Transit.
Transit 1 is the Under Transit 1 has the item. So that's in logic as well. And this is an exercise in logic. When we want to just of all the places to be, why are main PBs on Tumos?
Oh, looks like Darkstar is going back for that cannonball. Oh no, the portal.
Head under here. So I was about to say there's one logical maybe, and that's the ledge in Under Temple. They might have wanted to check in the hopes that the SDK was on PB Guardian itself, but no, even that's not possible. You're logically expected to spider up to that portal, so
Yep.
no, disregard that. Yeah, stronger and stronger case now of Grapple Guardian has Le Spider Ball.
Now, if you're Darkstar, I imagine you're feeling really behind because this is essentially a last location.
Absolutely. I mean, never mind the horrible logic at play here right now. Yes, you're still feeling like you've checked so much of the world at this point for where they should be.
Now, unfortunately, no Annihilator, so no Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom will actually hit Grapple Guardian through his invincibility frames as he's transitioning stages. So with Sonic Boom, you can kill him before he even attacks you in his second phase.
Although Darkstar not happy, there were no.
Oh, that is an Inghive key.
Alright. So now we're all back on the questioning logic train, but the other direction is Under Transit 1 is unaccessible right now to Darkstar because haven't picked up a power bomb drop in a while, and they are at 0 of 4. Unfortunately, this room is known. Yeah, those. Forget the name of the plants in there, but they are healthy droppers. Gets a power bomb. Now we see.
That looks like Spider. That is Spider. Okay, so that opens up a couple spots where our Dark Visor can be. So that gives us, at this point, mostly Torvis Plaza. So I imagine that's where he's going to go next.
It's going to be Torvis Plaza or it's going to be the second Under Temple check.
Oh yeah, and with that spider ball, he can actually do both of the Under Temple checks.
Oh, correct. Yep. Actually, yeah, that's Spider is both of those checks. I'm still sat here thinking that no, all you got to do is go through the portal and screw attack up the wall and skip the Power Bomb Guardian fight, but no. Logically, in order to get there and skip the Power Bomb Guardian fight, you still need Spider to get up the track and get to the portal in the first place. Keep forgetting that. Alright, Darkstar heading to Light World, so maybe they are going to check Ledge first, or maybe they're using this as the easy way back into Light World.
I would grab the cannonball because that makes Spider Guardian trivial.
I don't know. Maybe Leno. Yeah, we do have Leno as the mentor. I could see this being as the. Well, now they're heading back here. Maybe. I don't know. So many mentors of mine thus far kind of been Cannonball is one of those things of if you don't know that you're confident your routing can exist without cannons, save it. And especially in a location like this close to Chica, where it's the most useful. But obviously, I think Leno just talked them into Cannonball. So at this point, we are saying cannons can stuff it, and here comes Alpha Blog.
There's actually a couple ways to escape this fight if you have Grav. You can do some BSJs to get onto the platforms that you would normally use to escape this room after he breaks the lower ones. Alternatively, there's a somewhat difficult horizontal air underwater that you can do as you're passing into this room, which lets you screw attack into him. And we actually have a high five here. Both runners are going into Alpha Block.
Not just a high five. If we get the load time good, we're about to have a tag team match against Alpha Blog here.
But yeah, if you can get the air underwater, Alpha Blog actually has no resistance to screw attack. So if you can land a couple on him, he goes down really quick. There's the STK.
STK on Ledge.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they still do this because I think this can be the last Torvis key.
Last Torvis or potentially either of our missing visors.
We have all main bosses are logically required.
I think MColyer is actually aiming for the purposeful death warp at this point. But you are correct. This is a logical all guardians required based off of we have Humos, having an SDK?
No, Tumos is power bombs,
Correct.
main power bombs. Chaika is an SDK, and Mining Plaza is an SDK.
Yep. MColyer taking advantage, or sorry, Darkstar taking advantage of some ammo fish. Right up now with the Spider Ball and Under Transit 1. Minus the SDK advantage, we could have some potential for MColyer to get back in this.
Definitely.
If he's right here and if he stumbles upon that doing this in the Guardian, but probably travel Guardian first, but then into Under Transit 1.
And we have Grapple Pirates.
The unfortunate, nasty side effect of having completed the Grapple Guardian fight is Grapple Pirates now exist. Without Dark Visor, locked doors and no ability to track them. Ew.
Dark Oasis is just a missile.
Double dipping the Grapple Pirates, although this time these are not spawned because of Grapple Guardian nears vanilla. 70% chance to spawn in the room.
And Darkstar demonstrating that puzzles are optional.
Oh yes.
And there is our Dark Visor, which we knew had to be here considering we've seen every other check that was in Logic.
Forgive me, I'm gonna take a short break real quick. I'll be right back.
So with that dark visor, that puts Sank and Logic through the front door, as well as Annihilator Beam. I imagine that Darkstar is going this way to immediately grab that Annihilator, which is in War Ritual grounds. Yep. And McColyer picking up the key as well, so McColyer will also have to deal with grapple pirates when he goes back topside. And McColyer gets his spider ball. Hopefully he follows that back to Torvis Plaza, as Darkstar did.
Alright, I'm back.
Looks like Darkstar is heading towards Sank entrance.
Alright.
Now this can't be his Echo, but it could potentially be Cobalt. Basically the only places that Cobalt cannot be are Sank Map Station and Dynamo Works. So the reason that Sank entrance cannot be Echo is because Echo is logically powerbomb locked, and power bombs are on Tumos, which requires quad. And for logic settings in this tournament, quad requires echo.
Darkstar, skipping the item at Sanctuary Entrance. Didn't catch what it was, but
I think it was just a missile. Now, fun fact, these two Ink Smashers, for some reason, actually have a name in the code. I don't remember what the names are off the top of my head, but they are coded to have names.
yeah, that's knowledge to me. I do not know what these names are supposed to be, but definitely gonna hope for some better luck in the power bomb this time. And yep.
I will be right back.
No worries. Darkstar's cannonball making quick work. Is that Quentin? Making their way on through the main entrance to Sanctuary Fortress. Just a question of where do I need to go from here? Now with Spiderball finally in hand, watch stations got their checks. That opens up ATS. But a whole host and mess of places. Considering right about now, outside of SDK hints, they are working on Casino pretty much for Echo. And Cobalt. Now with Darkstar skipping any level of the tunnel entry methods to Dynamo Works, this is something that's telling me Darkstar is currently on a hunt for Cobalt. Unfortunate when you think to the idea of experienced runners, but this is a mentor tournament for a reason.
The runners here are not exactly expected to be grade A top tier speed running individuals. So right about now, knowledge to skip the fight. Learn dynamo work. Get into the tunnel. Not expected at this moment in time. That said, unless I'm mistaken, we are about to now first see the words of O'Lear.
Dark Burst on O'Lear.
No luck with progression, and unfortunately, no hearing the word.
Well, it appears that his words take you to a dark place, so...
At this moment, we are heading into Watch Station. The Spider Ball now in hand. Let us see what method we have today on Darkstar's side. Well, method number 1.
So Cannonball is an interesting thing. So when you enter a Morph Ball cannon, the game actually gives you an item called Cannonball that gives you several properties. And then when you hit collision, the game takes that item out of your inventory. Now, with the Randomizer, it can treat that sort of pseudo-item as a real item and shuffle it. So, while Cannonball is active, you are invulnerable. Also, it will deal an absurd amount of damage to certain enemies, like Resbits, which I believe the damage is set at 500,000 per frame, and they are weak to it, so they take double damage. But the trade-off is that there are some things that simply cannot be done with Cannonball. Like breaking the glass into airy. Normally you would do that with Boost Ball. That cannot be done with Cannonball. So if you need to go to airy, you have to lose Cannonball. Another thing that Cannonball cannot break, but Boost Ball can, is the wall at the save station in Great Temple. Boost Ball will break through that, but Cannonball will not.
Darkstar successful with the puzzle continuation skip, as I like to call it, because you're skipping having to fall down and do the first half of the puzzle again. You're continuing on with the puzzle from base, and look at that.
Echo. So that light suit is now in Logic. As are power bombs. And chat has corrected me. Resbits are actually 4 times weak to Cannonball, so they take an absurdly high 2 million damage. Was that Cobalt?
That looks like Cobalt, yep.
Then we are 1 Chica key away from Go mode.
Oh yeah, let's go. Now, I would say, Darkstar, you now are in possession of Dark Visor. Perform some executions here, please. There we go, and now we lower the gate. This wonderful breach in I don't know, would you call those walls collision or anything like that? I don't know.
The force fields?
Yeah. But in simplicity, it's the fact that you gotta find that little breach in the wall to scan that scan point through, and therefore skip the entirety of the caretaker fight. Which, to this day, I've yet to come across a seed that has a required caretaker, but it is legend that there is, even with everything you can possibly bring to the table to put in Randomania, there are still circumstances that would require a logical caretaker.
And there's our last key. We are in go mode, and I once rolled 2 logically required caretaker seeds in a row.
Ooh.
If you want a doozy, ask Wyvern if he still has his. He rolled the most insultingly required caretaker I have ever seen. Now, with Cannonball, since you're invulnerable, this boss fight is basically a non-entity.
Yep, this is non-entity. These second and third stages are still annoying based off of can your boosts and travel patterns align with getting you boss. Infamously, this half pipe right here catch a lot of runners going full Tony Hawk, just up and down the half pipe for 5 minutes.
So, little tip, there's actually spots on top of these 2 half pipes that you can just sit and bomb him from. So if you do not try to fall down that hole and you just sort of sit on the edge of it, you can actually just lay bombs and they will hit Spider Guardian.
Now, a point to make though. Oh, sorry, excuse me. This is Old Patcher, or Polaris Patcher. I don't know if it's still safe on laying a power bomb in here or not. I know in New Patcher it's taken care of. You can drop power bombs all day long, and Spider Guardian will not just be deleted from the field.
I think it is, but I am not 100% sure on that.
That's one of those things also that I still don't remember and still don't risk if it's not New Patchers. I typically don't use power bombs, Spider Guardian in Old Patcher, but
Now, for some reason, the spider tracks during this boss fight are active in subroom 1 and subroom 4, but not in subrooms 2 and 3. So you have to use the half pipes there, but here you can just crawl up the tracks.
Yep. And to add to the quirkiness, the other side of Dynamo Works, back in the main area you walked into, that spider track, to get back out of the room, up to the elevator, is also deactivated until you beat Spider Guardian. So if you come down through here and Dynamo Works on the other side, you need to get back to the elevator and get back down to Hall of Combat Mastery. If you haven't beaten Spider Guardian, you'll need to do a slope jump. That or some shenanigans. Here we go. Darkstar successfully grabbing the SDK. As mentioned, now that Spider Ball track is active. That's the Spider Ball track I was talking about. Prior to Spider Guardian being defeated, that track right there was not operable.
And Kazuto says that Old Patcher does in fact fix Spider Guardian being deleted.
Okay, so it's just actual OG gameplay. You're playing original Metroid Prime 2 Echoes for the Nintendo GameCube circa 2004, and somehow you wind up with the power bombs. If you don't power bomb Spider Guardian, you'll lock.
Same is actually true for Alpha Splinter. If in the vanilla game, if you somehow get a power bomb and power bomb the Alpha Splinter before it gets possessed, it will just be deleted and that cutscene will never play and you have soft locked yourself. And we can see that McColyer is actually attempting to skip Cobalt and just get this key by instant morphing into the tunnel. So how you do this is you do a slope jump off that sloped collision in the wall, and you try and maneuver yourself so that the camera is blocked by the entrance of the tunnel. And then with backwards momentum, you morph and hope to land inside the tunnel.
Now what makes this, and that trick is considered, I believe, advanced, maybe intermediate, but it's still beyond the logic of this seed. And that's because the height needed off the slope jump plus the instant that's a bit of a tricky trick. You'll find a lot of runners say, no, I can't get that one.
Yeah, you have to get a really good slope jump or you're not getting in, and your positioning has to be really good. If you're simply turned the wrong way, you won't morph with the right momentum and you'll fall out of the tunnel.
Yep. Now, alternatively, as we have no out-of-bounds restrictions in this tournament, there's also a screw attack bong. No, not. Is there a bonk involved, or is it just a slope jump into a screw attack into the tunnel? I've not truly tried to perform that one myself, but there is a screw attack method to place yourself in this tunnel as well, facing into the tunnel. However, that one's combo dangerous of it could just spit you right back out the tunnel and erase your work. Or B, instead of just morphing into a morph ball in the tunnel, it could throw you into out of bounds and introduce you to some out of bounds shenanigans.
Alternatively, there is a single room out of bounds using some really weird behavior from the door into gyro access that will just put you out of bounds.
That is an available option. Yeah, I'm not too versed on it, so
You're a little late, KR. This seed is very cursed already. It logically requires all 3 bosses, Powerbomb Guardian, Spider Guardian, Alpha Blog was guarding Cannonball. Airy is nothing. It was not accessible for basically the entirety of this seed. It was one of the last checks that came into logic. So main power bombs are on Tumos, which were logically required for pretty much half of the items.
This has been a fun one, as far as the logic chain is concerned, as it's, yeah, to have strictly followed logic, you would have been back and forth over the map a million times. As we see MColyer picking up Dark Burst in Tumos. Both of our runners today have been naughty. No words of O'Lear to the stream. I'm slightly disappointed. But also to catch up yet, Chica's the required SDK. Tumos with the required main PBs. Worms with the Mining Plaza required STK. So yeah, we got a bosses aplenty seed. So Krar, no. Cursed enough, we don't need further.
And we have our first Chica fight. Chica is one of the few enemies that you have to scan to get the weak point to show up. Now, the first part of this fight with the larva, you're just going to see Darkstar mostly shotgunning light ammo into it as it surfaces. I believe Aaron has said before that there is a bit of a random factor with how much damage that the larva will take from a charged light beam shot. I'm not sure exactly how it works, though.
Dark beam. Larva. The important part of the scan is to get that center chest aim point. That's the weak spot. You don't get that without scanning. So now, before we get any preemptive questions in chat, runners did not agree to multiplayer items. No. Cannonball is part of the main equipment shuffled into the pool in the randomizer races, but no, there's no double damage, there's no unlimited ammo, there's no unlimited missiles, so right about now we are at the mercy. So we're like we got the weak foot over on that field.
And that was a very good first phase Chica fight. From here, we have the fun part.
Why are we rolling around? Oh. no chicken nuggies. Just
So remember how I mentioned that certain enemies are incredibly weak to cannonball? Well, one of those enemy types is actually wasps. And Adult Chica is considered a wasp by this game. So it will take an absurd amount of damage from cannonball per frame, and it is vulnerable to it. So you just have to roll into its hurt box, and basically you win instantly. Now, in order to get out of this room, you have to reload it. You don't actually have to collect the energy as Darkstar demonstrated. You just have to go to the back of the next room, roll around a bit, and come back.
Darkstar with the save work coming back. One last Sky Temple key. Mistaken. Did they?
Which key have we not collected?
I think it's. Hold on. Let me get into. Ah, yes, defiled shrine. Defiled shrine is a key.
Ah, that's a good one to be your last SDK.
Yep. So now, Darkstar right about now is on their way. Might as well call it on their way to final bosses. Defiled shrine is. That's right here. And this has been quite a. I don't know. My personal experience for about 8.9 has been brutal as far as the Randomizer version has been concerned. This logic chain alone, and I've rolled some steeds as well. 8.9 just has a lot of backtracking in these types of steeds. It's a back and forth type of deal where it's just I don't even call it content. I do want to call it garbage. Just from the logic of back and forth. So I don't know. This is the first week of implementation of 8.9. I don't want to curse it that bad, but at this moment, no. I'm safely gonna say 8.9. I'll blame it. Now, here we got Darkstar entering Sky Temple Ground on the dark side, taking that last final safety save before heading on to the Emperor Ring. And while MColyer finding Cobalt here in ATS. Make sure to grab that ledge just right. Get that peek, and there's a scan. Alright, Emperor-ing 1, Darkstar 7. Gonna use Light Beam, hit these tentacles. And they are a fan of Annihilated Fan.
Me personally, I prefer super missiles. I always get my annihilator shots stuck on the shell.
Yeah, when you don't have unlimited ammo or double damage, it's risky, but doing a nice job there with a 1 phase. Now with Cannonball, this is an auto-scroller, essentially.
Without Cannonball, it's not really all that fun.
Not fun, and it's more because of the inglets. The dark puddles you see on the surface, that's the true enemy on this one. Forget the tentacles. Those inglets are always bastards. Oh.
So, Emperor-ing 3. Now, this one's probably going to be finished before I finish explaining what's going on here. There is actually a hitbox underneath Emperor-ing that is vulnerable to screw attack. So you can damage this boss essentially by screw attacking underneath it. Though you do want to be careful, because if you kill the boss while that laser attack is going, you have a risk of crashing. Now, you don't want to screw attack high, because you can screw attack over that hitbox.
So with the screw attack, it's supposed to have been an original feature from the development phase of the final battle fight, and there was the intention to. But apparently, in development stages of this final battle, there was going to be some extra armor that you needed to screw attack off. That's why the hitbox existed in the first place. But they removed that portion of the battle, but never removed the hitbox. So that's why screw attack is a viable attack on Emperor 3. Right now we got Darkstar heading out of here. Timers are going. The music is a bumping. Let's do our escape. Getting the heck out of here. Going to safety. Wait, what? No, not safety? Oh, Dark Stamina.
So what you're going to see is Darkstar firing about 25 Annihilator shots to bring Dark Samus to essentially the brink of transitioning into Dark Samus 4. For a visual cue, the point you want to be at is right around where that last S is. Up, went too far, and has centered. So, if you can get it to right at the cusp of transitioning, and then hit Dark Samus with either a screw attack or a super missile as she's leaving her big downward-facing cannon shots, you can trick the game into not properly transitioning. And you can then lock her in her missile shield animation and keep dealing damage to her, either with Dark Beam or other screw attacks. If you can't, both of those are much faster than doing this fight normally because of all of the RNG that's involved. So, a little bit of advice for Darkstar if you're watching this back. It's actually better to not lock on to Dark Samus at this point, because it's kind of badly programmed. So, just with the normal lock-on, you run the risk of being hit by those Phazon pellets you're supposed to collect. If you just manually aim above her shoulder, you'll almost never be hit by them. And one other thing to keep in mind is that if you actually hit Dark Samus with one of those phazon shots while she is lowering her shield, instead of damaging her, you will heal her.
Seeing some of this on for any runners that are too used to or that are used to Metroid Prime 1, I equate this a bit to the Ridley fight after Ridley's grounded. You get that arm swipe, and the arm kind of blocks the hitbox out for that stun attack. Same kind of situation. Excuse me. With Dark Samus, you. Oh, excuse me. You miss the aim point, you get monster, you can get stunned by the phazon coming at you. Oh, come on.
Once she gets to the point where she can be killed by one more phazon shot, she shouldn't drop down again. It's like this so that the ending cutscene where she's in the air makes sense.
That's it. Somehow, once she lands, super missiles still do hit for damage. Ooh, bully.
So, alternatively, if you're not going to do the manual aiming, if you actually let yourself get hit by one of her shots, you will flinch. Up, and we have at 2:53 and 10 seconds. GG's to Darkstar. Hello, Leno.
Hello, GG's.
GG.
How did we win? Seriously.
Oh man.
I will probably relate this more to MColyer had a series of deaths back at about the 40-minute mark because they had not picked up a lot of E. They were on no E tanks, just 99 health.
You know that's relatable. I think we saw 3 energy tanks that were completely inaccessible early on. Junction site, no thank you. Fortress transport access, yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing.
Yep. Just the purest irony that it was faster for true progression to skip labs, but like 3 E tanks in labs. My goodness, some of that dive was a little bit helpful.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get the light suit?
That's actually what MColyer wound up dying for a lot was in the attempt to get light suit and continue through Torvus, because at that point they were getting light suit with no E tanks. They were still on 99 health.
We only had the one, right?
We got
one at the time of getting light suit, but you guys got the E tank at Torvus Temple Access. So you got
Right.
Exodus 2 right after.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Welcome, McColyer.
Oh,
GG.
GG.
GG's.
I have
Wow.
one question. Where
Go for
was Darkvisor?
Dark Visor. That was at Torvis Plaza.
Toros Plaza.
Oh, Plaza. Ugh.
Locked behind that hot dog spider ball from Under Transit 1, which we
Yep.
definitely did not forget about for 45 minutes or whatever it felt like.
Wow. I really thought it
Wow.
was Stank Entrance, and if not that, then Phasing
Yeah.
Grounds. I would have been a little stumped there. Yeah.
Yeah, we were thinking.
So the thing is that
The commentary team also potentially forgot that Spider Ball was a requirement for Sank Entrance and was convinced Sank Entrance was a play, but
Yeah, you can definitely
use that
scout it.
angle.
Yeah, you can definitely scout it and get it out of logic, but in these settings, Spider Ball is a requirement, along with main power bombs. Thank you, Tumos.
yeah, so you guys had a logically all bosses seed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Nye.
Yeah. It was.
Out of my 3 weeks, all 3 of them had Chica STKs.
I'm gonna go ahead and blame Steve for cursing this run by saying, "Oh, it's not a read seed. It's not gonna be bad."
And then Nye dropped the bomb. Like, yeah, you know, I can still roll seeds too, you know.
Yeah, and I think I also wrote, well, it's probably a shower seed. Glad to know another shower seed then. Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious!
So the thing with that spider ball is that the two of you actually got it rather close to each other.
Oh,
Huh.
okay.
Except where did they take it?
Basically everywhere except for Torvis Plaza.
Oh no.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
we hadn't been
we-
in Sank at all yet.
We were cleaning.
So like
time.
I knew there were very few places for Dark Visor, but I didn't think Dark Visor was urgent to have in Sank. So I was just like, whatever, we'll save warp out of Sank eventually and get Dark Visor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dark Visor was your logical entrance into Sync.
Right. Yeah, we knew that. So yeah, so there were we'd almost full cleared everything but Sank. So it's like, okay, there's like 3 places left Dark Visor can be. We'll go get it eventually and hope that we don't need Annihilator in Sank, which apparently we did.
Yep. Sentinel's Path holds the final Chica key. Oh.
Did you see the cannonball on Alpha Blog?
Yeah, we go ahead,
I was
McColyer.
like, I was like, try. Oh well, no. Oh, I'll go out.
Wait, did you die?
we grabbed it and Alpha Ball killed us for our hubris.
Oh.
Ouch.
To be honest, that wasn't my biggest death, I believe. It was
yeah.
dying to the pirates after dying in Torvos Temple. The pirates after the death of Torvos
Oh.
Temple.
Yeah, we had a close call there too. I got down to
No.
like 20 energy.
No, I hit the last pirate the first time, but he also hit me and died.
It was a
Then
double
I-
kill.
Then, after trying to go back on the portal on the got the name?
Forgotten Bridge.
Forgotten Bridge. Yeah, I also got sniped by the pirates again.
Dear
There.
Lord.
Yeah, we had to spin the bridge, so you get those pirate commandos you got to fight on no E tanks.
Oh yeah, on that layer. Yep. That's a terrible layer. Yep. So I guess I have a question for you, and I think I know the answer already. Did you push labs after you got Dark Beam, or okay? And there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing.
We could have forgotten about labs.
Well, I
Well-
wouldn't say there was nothing because there was most of the E in this seed.
Yeah, and most of the red
Yeah.
keys that mattered.
There.
Yeah. Yeah. So after Supers and Dark Beam, Logan's like, "Hey, why don't we just like scout Torvus Lagoon?" I'm like, yeah. I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, we don't have Dark Beam. There's no reason to. And then I'm like, oh wait, we have Supers, we have a suit, we have Dark Beam. No, you're right. We absolutely push Torvus here. We 100% go for that.
Leno's like, wait, we don't have a dark beam, but wait, we have supers, a dark beam.
Also, that Dark Beam.
Yeah, it was on
The
the show.
FMC.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you enjoy finding the like logical light suit like 5 minutes into the scene and realizing actually this was super buried in the progression order?
Yep.
As soon as that power bomb on Umos, it's like,
Yep.
oh god.
Yep, I'm like, oh crap, that's an actual logical light suit. Where the heck is the dark suit? And then once we saw the suit in Portal Chamber, and then the questions were like, "Oh no, the game doesn't expect light suit." I'm like, no, actually, the settings can be evil enough that you can do Upper Dark Torvus suitless with enough E scattered around, which I guess was all in labs.
I think that was the logic for this scene.
On these settings, the game will always expect light suit, so light suit will always be logical because there are no beacons in final bosses.
Yeah.
On here's a question that I've got. On MColyer's side, did you happen to remember Torvus Access or Torvus Temple Access?
Yep.
The drop down was an E-tank.
Yes.
You had seen it once, you had the
Yes.
death, and then never went back for it.
No, I did got it. I went and got it.
We contemplated getting it right before the first fight, and from then on we knew we were going to get it but we never made it. We died before making it back there.
The second time, yeah. And on the third try, I went and got it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's so unfortunate because we had a mini conversation about, oh, should we loop around and pick up the sea tank before the fight? And it's like, it depends on your comfort level. And McCoyer's like, yeah, we got this. And we barely did not got this.
Oh, those silly arrow troopers, those silly pirates, they make good snipers.
Oh, yeah. It was so fun. That one was fun.
Leno told me to just use Dark Beam. Like, I don't know if I want to get close to those pirates. 'Cause I'm only at 29 health. But I'm good. I'm just gonna use missiles.
Yep.
29 health. No, you got a shot left to take.
Well, I mean, that's 28 more health than you'll need, right?
Yeah, you only need one.
So what were your thoughts on this logic chain?
I mean, first hint being Chica has SDK was not very comforting.
Before the start, after, I think on the 15 seconds or while loading, I told Baja, Chica has an SDK.
Oh, no.
I did say that.
So this is before Rico joined in as the stream was coming across on the restream page. It was literally the way your guys' streams were shown on screen. We had a visual, I think it was MColyer's side, showed us seeing space jump boots, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's Jet today. And then Darkstar's side showing the hint that said Chickakee.
Or not.
That's great.
That's great.
Not so Jet.
No.
And then,
yeah.
was it the Fortress Transport Access hint that told us that Tumos had the power bomb, or was that like the transport to Aegon hint that said it? It was relatively early. I just don't remember where it was.
I think it was transport to Aegon because I believe FTA was Chickakee hints.
And
Right.
yeah.
It was transport to Aegon.
Mm-hmm. And I actually had to reread that back real quick. I'm like, wait, did that say power bomb or power bomb expansion? And Logan's like, and then Logan's like, oh, well, Tumos has power bombs. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I read it. Humos and power bombs, and power bombs there.
Yeah, that was some. It was interesting though, because knowing Dark Visor Seekers had to be outside sync, was pretty helpful.
This was a good seed. Knight, you rolled a good one. My hat's off to you.
I already have 3 2-hour seats, 1 by read, one Barbaja, and one Banai. All of them were Chica required.
Amazing.
So you just need an Aaron seed, and you'll have the complete set.
Let's try to get that one next week.
I remember back in my day when we didn't even pick up. We would scan a Torvus key and we wouldn't pick it up because we knew Chica was dead. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Like Chica was almost never required. Almost never.
She has stormed back with a vengeance. It's good for the randomizer for sure.
Yeah.
To not have just completely
sorry
dead
for
checks.
the gathered crowd, but yeah, no, between me and MColyer, yeah, no, I'll take this logic over last week's logic. Thank you very much.
Oh, last week Sunday's logic was those space jumps.
It was, well, not just that. I'm specifically mentioning
the Chica, yeah,
Chica with a Chica key on
Airy, and your last location that, well, it was. I would have done the same, to be honest. Last location that Airy key.
Yeah, no, that one still takes the cake.
Yeah. I mean, by the end of the seed, we were praying that it was a Chica key on Airy. Like that was our only other out.
Yeah.
Without having to leave Sank and come back.
I was worried about that too. I was worried because we still had Sank map available. We still had Airy available. We had just checked Watch Station for that Echo Visor. Like, oh, okay, well that opens up more things now.
Yeah.
And Watch Station right into Aerial for the Cobalt we're missing, and then boom.
Oh,
Yeah.
that Cobalt was such a good sight. Oh, that was such a relief.
Yeah, because we went back to get Annihilator as soon as we got Dark Visor.
So I have a question for Darkstar and Leno.
Mm-hmm.
You guys pushed into Sank very early, comparatively. So
Yeah, we went there without Spider.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Without Spider and without Dark Visor, so it was not logical. I was going to ask if there was something specific that you were looking for at that point.
Well, when we got to Hall of Combat Mastery, that part of the loop, I'm like, okay, well, if you feel comfortable doing a slope jump into an instant morph, we can continue, otherwise we have to turn around. And then Logan's like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. So we did the Hall of Combat Mastery, because we had to get the SDK anyway. So we just did a little bit of practice with the Hall of Combat Mastery, and I think it was like third or fourth try. Wasn't that bad. It would have been nice if Sank actually had something with our loadout that we could have gotten something, like that Echo Visor. Vault had an E-tank and missiles scattered about. Like, there was nothing in Sank. Like, it was a super punishing play, and I knew we gave up a ton of time. And that's when we were thinking, okay, well, obviously Torvus Plaza Access has the item that we forgot. Let's go back and get it. And then it's nothing.
Then I'm like... and we leave Torvus to go check something. Phazon Grounds.
Yep, check Phazon Grounds. And that's nothing. Like, and then it's like, oh,
what else?
No.
The Seeker door in
Upper Dark Torvus. Yep, so cache A. So like, oh, crap. Oh, yeah, that Seekers was in such a bad spot.
That's an ETL. Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Then it's
so at this
finally...
at this point, I'm like, oh, you know what? Just please pull up the map. What do we forget? And then we just forget Lord Torvus exists. Lord Torvus just doesn't exist. Yeah, and then Under Transit 1 had that spider ball.
Nah, we were there. We were in Under Temple. Like, I could have left through the upper power bomb door and Under Temple access and gone, but we just didn't think about doing that.
Yeah, a little bit of a hot dog there. That's on me.
Actually, at that point, weren't you missing power bombs at that point, or was that? Or am I missing?
No, power bombs were very, very early. Like, you've got a power bomb in.
I mean, you were like 0 of whatever.
Yeah.
But even then, like, you can kill the krill that's in the light version of Under Temple Access. I don't remember the name of it, but.
Oh, yeah, the refill fish. Yep.
You stock up that way if you really need to.
I thought I remembered an ammo concern at that point in time, but maybe I'm off. But anyways, that's this race certainly did not lack on content. I will say that much.
Oh no, I'm watching this. I'm watching this one back. I want to see
I
how.
I need to watch it again.
It was a very nice introduction to the tournament for me.
At this point, I guess I'll ask: does anybody have any questions? Anything else they'd like to bring up, or?
Well, thanks to you two, Rico and Steve, for doing comms. Thanks to Drake for setting up the tracking document so everyone can follow along. I saw Op in chat linking it a few minutes ago. So, Op pseudo tracker. Thank you so much, Op.
The only thing I want to say, I want the quadfecta for the seeds. Might as well get it right now, as soon as possible.
That's okay. We'll just have every boss required next week.
Yeah.
Like this week.
But I mean, like every single boss. Well,
every boss.
Ares, Spider Guardian, all three majors.
All bosses all the time.
All bosses all the time. Yep. That'll be next week.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well, everybody, please follow the runners. They did a fantastic job with this. I'm gonna say work of art, I guess.
That's one way to describe
One way
the scene, I guess.
Yep.
Masochist dream, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Our runners, our mentors, worth a follow. We've got the bot getting the links up in the chat right about now. Go ahead and lend follows across the board.
I don't know what I'm going to do when I get a jet seed. If I'm only getting this type of seeds.
Well, hey, maybe you can jet to Chaika.
Next hit, I will try to read every hint and will like, if I get all see Chica hints, I'll go fight Chica before knowing if it needs to be done.
If my experience thus far with 8.9 can lend anything, no, I'm rolling hot garbage lately of my own accord, so I almost feel like I'm taking on this mantle, but anyways.
I was doing it already on 8.8. 8.8.
But that's it. Thank you guys. Very good race across our runners. As tonight's race draws to a close, a reminder, give a follow on our runners, on our mentors, on those of us in the booth giving the commentary. If you want more information on this particular tournament, we have the Metroid Prime Randomizer Discord, where loads of information is available to gain information, check it out, find the schedule, find how things are going. But beyond that, at this point, I want to wish everyone a good night. It is almost midnight on the East Coast. It's damn well time for bed.
Yeah, it's 11 p.m. for me, and I need to get early tomorrow to move my car to service.
For all of us here, wish you all good night, good luck, and we will see you all next mission.
See you next mission.
See you, folks.
Take care.
See you.